I'm back. I feel like I haven't done one of these in ages, but I really enjoy making them. And I'm glad that I'm doing it again. So, yeah, here we are. I did some pottery painting this morning. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's like, one of those shops where you go in and you pick something to paint, like a mug or a bowl or an ornament or whatever, and then you paint it and then they fire it in the kiln or whatever. But yeah, I did that this morning with my family and it was really nice. I didn't realize it in the moment, but I was so present and grounded and just so in the moment because I was so focused on what I was painting and I was really enjoying it, even though in the moment I didn't realize I was, if that makes sense. Like, I knew I was happy and enjoying it, but looking back, I was like, wow, I was really focused and present with that. It was, for those interested in what I was painting, I really wanted to paint a dragon and I was looking at what the selection they had, and they had a few dragons, but none of them really stood out to me. In the end, I went with a dragon that had like a Christmas hat on and that was like sleeping on top of a present, which I really loved. It was adorable and he looked like a pocket dragon, which, if you don't know what pocket dragons are, they're basically these ornaments of dragons from, I believe, the 90s. And I have 3 in my collection currently, and I get them from vintage secondhand. They are the most adorable creatures ever. So yeah, I was really into it. I was really focused on painting this dragon and getting it perfect and stuff like that. And I was just really focused and grounded. And yeah, looking back, I was like, wow, I was so present and grounded with that whole process and just really enjoying it. And I didn't realize how much I was enjoying it until like now I'm like thinking back to it, if that makes sense. Because yeah, I've just been really trying to focus and make a change to be more grounded and present lately. I've always kind of been a bit ungrounded in my energy. I've always kind of been in the habit of just being in survival mode, I guess. So recently I decided to make a change and try and be more in my body, be really present with myself, feel into my body. And I have really struggled with that, and I continue to struggle with that, to remain grounded and present, which has caused a lot of anger and frustration with myself. I beat myself up a lot about being ungrounded and why can't I be present and stuff like that. But I had this moment of realization when I remembered that it only feels frustrating and it only feels like I'm going backwards or, quote, not making any progress, because actually I am being more present than I was and I actually am making an effort to change. Before, I thought that everything was okay, that like I'm fine, and then I decided actually no, I want to be more present and more grounded, and that was when I noticed just how ungrounded I really was. And so it seems like I was going backwards and doing horribly when in actuality I have been improving. It just feels like I'm not, because I'm noticing it a lot more, but that's actually a good sign because it means that when I am being ungrounded, I'm like picking myself up on that and I'm noticing, as opposed to just going through life in survival mode and not really noticing that I'm in survival mode. I'm actually noticing and picking myself up on it, as opposed to spending half or most of the day on, semi-autopilot and then making it through a day like that and being like, oh wow, today was good because I did not feel anything or acknowledge what I'm going through. And now that I have decided and I am choosing to actually try and come back to myself and to presentness, I am noticing a lot more of those times where I am ungrounded, or I do try to escape, or I don't acknowledge my feelings or my surroundings, and I get annoyed. I get so frustrated with myself because it seems like I'm doing it a lot more, which I'm not. I'm actually making an effort not to. I'm just noticing it a lot more and catching myself when I do it, which, yeah, is a good thing because it means I'm being a lot more present than I used to be. Because before, again, I used to just go about my day on autopilot, not really acknowledging anything at all. And this is so strange, but I think anxiety has been one of the biggest blessings for this experience. It's going to sound so weird, but hear me out. Stay with me. I have been, a little background, I have been experiencing anxiety since I was about 16 years old, and back then I did not even know what it was. I have grown a lot since then, and I've learnt a lot as well. I think now I understand it a lot better, but also I think just knowing what something is makes a huge difference and helps you feel like you're not losing your mind or being overdramatic, or, there's something wrong with you. I would say that I am pretty good at dealing with times when I feel anxious now, mostly. I've gotten really good at accepting that it's there and talking to myself in a nice way and being there for myself and just breathing into it or saying, hey, thanks for being here, but I'm gonna get on with my day now. But some days I do still have those moments where I get so angry and frustrated with myself, where I let anxiety make me feel so small and embarrassed. I compare myself a lot to other people who, seem really confident and seem to be doing okay. And I'm like, why can't I just be normal and not be anxious at everything and go outside and be confident? Like, why do I have to feel like this all the time over nothing? But overall, I'm okay, I would say, at dealing with it and accepting it. However, up until very recently, I had never really experienced a true gratitude and appreciation for feeling it. You hear this thing where they say, like, oh, anxiety is just your body's way of trying to keep you safe, and oh, it's just your body's way of loving you and protecting you. And I do the whole thank you for being here and all that, but I never really felt into those words and that phrase of thank you until a couple of weeks ago, or maybe like a month ago now, I guess, but still. I was sat down at home one afternoon and all of a sudden I just felt this wave of strong anxiety hit my body, and it hit me hard. I don't know if I was already anxious and I just suddenly came back to being present and suddenly felt it, or if I was present and it just hit me. But either way, I was almost knocked back into my body by this feeling. It was the most intense anxiety I've felt in my body for a long, long time. It was so strong. Like I said, it knocked me right back into being in my body. It knocked me back into being present. I couldn't ignore it. It was that strong. I couldn't just push it away and think of something else, or go on autopilot. It was that strong that I could not ignore it. I could not escape it. Even the thought of trying not to acknowledge it and, just don't think about it. The thought of not acknowledging it gave me even more anxiety. Like, I knew in my heart and my soul in that moment that, like, I just had to feel it and be in my body and embrace it. So I sat there and I felt it, and I got this, and this is going to sound so, again, strange, but this is the only way that I can describe it to you. I got this unbelievable wave of just calm and mental clarity, which I know sounds completely ridiculous when physically I was preparing to fight off a grizzly bear. But mentally, I was like, yeah, this is great. Like, this is putting me back in my body. I feel so good. And yeah, I just felt so much gratitude for having this anxiety, because it put me back in my body, and I felt just this utter sense of relief and connectedness to myself that I hadn't felt in a while. It was in that moment that two things happened. First of all, it was the only time, or like the first time, that I felt truly thankful for anxiety, even though I always believed that I should be anyway, because it was just me being able to, protect myself and want to keep myself safe. I never really truly felt grateful until it anchored me back into my body. And the second thing I realised was, wow, I thought I was doing well. I thought I was being grounded. Actually, I'm not. Because not only did it put me back in my body, but it also made me realise, like, wow, I haven't felt this in a long time. Like, I haven't felt this connected and grounded to myself and to my body in a really long time. And that's a scary thought. I want to change that. So yeah, it was this strange mix of anxiety and calm. But I got the sense that things were going to be okay. I breathed through it, felt into my breathing, felt into my body, and I just felt complete. And it was a feeling that I hadn't felt in a long time. And what I'm really trying to do now is just the same, just breathing into it and accepting it and allowing it. And I say I've had a few bad days, but again, it's probably me just thinking I'm going backwards when in actuality I'm just being more present. So I'm noticing when I'm not being present. So I should be proud of myself for that and not beating myself up about that. And here's the thing is like, yeah, sometimes being present and grounded and acknowledging what you're feeling does suck sometimes. Like sometimes life is annoying and frustrating or upsetting and it feels uncomfortable. But I know that also nothing is going to change if I just keep going back to being on autopilot. And I honestly, in the long run, it leaves me feeling really awful. Coming back to myself and to my body always feels good and always feels right and always feels like it's where I'm meant to be, even if it does hurt mentally or emotionally. And it can be really difficult and daunting. Like I'm going through some stuff right now that like I don't really want to be going through. But I also feel much better when I'm present and grounded and in my body as opposed to just trying to just go about my day as if everything's fine and I'm holding it together because, you know, what else can I do? I think coming out of autopilot mode can also be very tricky when you don't even know you are on autopilot mode. I was quite mentally ill going into my late teens. I wasn't ever really diagnosed with anything, and what I went through wasn't really acknowledged by the people around me. I didn't even have the words to express or understand what I was going through, and looking back now, I do recognize it for what it was. I'm not an expert, but you know, you know when you look back and you think, yeah, that was like a bad situation, and like I don't know how I made it through, but I did, and I'm thankful that I did. But yeah, to cope, I would just not be present. I would live on autopilot. I would dissociate. I would pretend that everything was fine and I would not fully feel what I was feeling because it hurt too much and it was just too painful. And I just honestly, I did not want to think about it. And that's great. It got me through. But I also don't want to live like that anymore. I also just thought it was normal. I thought that was what life was. You know, just get on with it and don't complain and everything will be fine. I got so used to it. It was, you know, how I lived, and no one really spoke about emotions or my emotions. No one really noticed that anything was up, or if they did, they never really brought it up with me, so I kind of just got on with it. I don't remember how or why I suddenly realised I was on autopilot mode, but for a long time I resisted getting out of it. But as I learned and grew and did inner work, I saw a therapist for a year as well. She was amazing. I slowly got myself out of that big black hole that I was in, and I learned a lot about myself and what I need. I obviously have a long way to go on, you know, finding myself and everything else. I'm only young. I'm literally just a baby. I'm not perfect, but I think looking back now, I am very impressed by how far I've come. I'm very proud. But obviously, I still go through times like now where I fall into those traps and I have to be gentle with myself, coming back to myself. Right now, I guess I'm really trying to heal my nervous system, be present, be and feel safe, receiving and getting love and being present enough so that I can be a part of the life that I am building for myself, even if, again, at the time it just doesn't feel great right now. I think for me, because I do struggle right now with my mental health, I'm in this weird stage of life where it feels like nothing is happening despite my best efforts to incite change and goodness into my life. I'm doing all of these things to better myself and take care of myself. I work on projects that I love and I'm productive. I work out. I'm applying to all these jobs. I'm, you know, just trying to make the most out of life and trying to get myself into a really good position. But at the same time, I'm not really seeing any reward or consequence for my actions or the changes that I'm making. And it does bring up anger and frustration and sadness. It is emotionally tiring to feel constantly disappointed by the lack of change in your life despite your best efforts. And it does make you question yourself. It is quite humbling and it can be emotionally taxing. And if you feel like this most days, of course, you might just not want to be fully in your body or your mind. And I guess that was where I was at and where I kind of am coming out of, and just trying to acknowledge, like, yeah, hey, I'm feeling like shit sometimes, but I'm still gonna try and be present and be in my body and acknowledge the things that are good in my life and acknowledge the things that I do love, but also acknowledge the bad and acknowledge how I'm feeling and acknowledge that it's okay to be feeling this, and I'm okay with feeling this, and I'm gonna be okay on the other side of feeling this. Taking deep breaths and being in my body and just having a moment of like doing nothing and being okay with the fact that I am doing quote nothing. Just allowing myself those moments of breath and really feeling into my breathing, and yeah. And I know I have a lot of blessings in my life and things to be thankful for, but it's also the truth of how I've been feeling, and how life is sometimes, that sometimes it does feel a bit shit. I know that all of my hard work will pay off one day, and I know that it's building up. I know it's got to lead to somewhere and something, but right now I'm just not seeing any of it, and it's been like this for months, and it can start to drag on you a bit, and it does feel a bit not great sometimes. But that's okay, and I need to learn how to stick with these emotions and not run away from them. And I am learning how to embrace my emotions again. I think a part of me as well is sort of ashamed to feel emotions sometimes. I'm a water sign, I'm a Cancer, so yeah, like everyone thinks I'm a crybaby. I was always told that I was too sensitive and too emotional, and so again, even when I cry when I'm by myself, or even when I feel any strong emotion by myself, it tends to consume me, and it tends to feel very bad if it's negative, but also there's a part of me that is also ashamed and embarrassed to feel things so strongly, because I'm like, well, everyone was right, I am too sensitive, maybe I should just not feel anything at all. Which is not the way to go, but I think subconsciously maybe I was just telling myself, like, you can't feel anything, because then the people who told you were too sensitive would be right. Which is silly now that I'm saying it out loud, but I've just had this like live realization caught on camera that maybe I've just like been telling myself this stuff. Yeah, I'm learning how to be present again. I'm learning how to find little pockets of joy in each day, breathing into anxiety whenever I feel it, and just letting it take me back to my body. Next steps, obviously, I have to be kinder to myself. It's okay to have self-discipline and want to work on yourself and better yourself. It's not okay to be harsh and speak horribly to yourself, which is what I sometimes can do when I feel frustrated, or if things are not going my way or whatever. I tend to blame myself and blame everything on myself, which is wrong, and we shouldn't do that. Sometimes things just aren't working out because it's not the time, or something has to happen first, or whatever. Just a million things that are just out of your control. Trying to get back into that flow state and be in the present and not worrying about the future or next week or tomorrow or even the next hour. Just being here right now and reminding myself that this is the only moment that exists right now, and breathing into that and finding refuge and comfort in that really helps. Because, side note, I am not one of those people who finds comfort in being quote an infinite soul, or like, what do you mean this is forever? Because I am a spiritual person, I would say I'm definitely spiritual rather than religious, but I don't have my beliefs down on lock, if that makes sense. But that thought alone of like just being this little ball, this little soul or ball of energy, just like continually existing forever and ever and ever, sends me spiraling. Like, you have no idea. The amount of spiritual gurus that I watch or like come up for me on TikTok and they're like, wow, like we're infinite beings, like we go on forever, like, and they say that with so much joy and comfort and peace in their face. That sends me spiraling, hun. Spiraling. Like, as silly as that might sound, I have to really work on pulling myself back into the moment of being me in the here and now. Really talk myself out of this utter dread and confusion that I feel by this concept and just remind myself, like, hey, we don't have to think about that right now. Like, we are not there or them right now. Like, right now, I am Molly. I am here. I am flesh and blood, human Molly, who is here right now, and that is the only thing that matters. So yeah, I obviously tend to freak out over like mundane worries, but also just like weird spiritual BS that I don't really know what to believe in. But remembering that the only moment is now really, really comforts me in a way that I cannot even describe to you. Just when I really connect and feel into that notion and just feel so connected and safe and held by myself. This is the only moment. I'm here in this body right now, like, who cares about souls or past lives or like what I'm gonna do tomorrow? Like, right now I'm here, I'm in my little body, I'm Molly, and I'm in this moment, and I'm just feeling this moment, and I'm peaceful and I'm content in this moment. Also, just like, I don't know, I feel like I was at this stage of where I was like, oh, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Like, getting really anxious about what if I'm doing something wrong. Now I'm at the stage where I'm like, I know I'm not doing anything wrong, so now I'm just annoyed at like life and the world, because I'm like, well, I know I'm not broken, so like the world must be broken. There is a glitch in the matrix, but it's not my fault. I'm doing everything right. Like, I'm sending good energy out there, I'm trying to do all this stuff, and I'm eating my greens and working out and looking after myself, and you know, now there's nothing wrong with me. Now there must be something wrong with the universe or something. I don't know, man. But also I feel like as well, anxiety makes you want to control everything, because anxiety, at least for me, is just like this little voice in my head that's like, everything's dangerous and bad and everything bad is going to happen to you because yeah. And then I have to like counteract that by like trying to control everything. And I was listening to an Ella Ringrose video. She's one of my favorite YouTubers. She's like a spiritual YouTuber. If you are into that sort of thing, check her out. But she's like one of the only spiritual YouTubers slash creators that I can listen to and watch and enjoy, and I really, really love all of her videos. Even she's one of those creators that even if I don't resonate with the message, I'll still like vibe in her energy and her just aura. I feel like if we met in real life, we'd get along really well. I don't know, I really struggle with finding spiritual quote influencers, I guess, that like I really resonate with and vibe with, because a lot of them are so spiritual and so, which is fine and love and light, and I love them for that, but also just like, I don't know, I just can't get behind most of them. Also, there used to be this one creator that I watched, and some of her videos did give me comfort and stuff. But I tried to watch some of her other videos recently, and they were so like fear-based, and so, not that she was scared, but it was almost like she was like unintentionally trying to get like other people watching the videos to be in fear. I don't know, all of her videos recently were just very like, oh, you have to do this within a certain timeline, otherwise this opportunity won't come again, or you have to do this now, otherwise God won't give you this opportunity. And I was like, this is just, I don't know. First of all, I feel like no one can tell me what God is trying to tell me. Like, that's for me and God to work out and no one else. And secondly, yeah, it was just very much like fearful and like, you have to do this now and you have to do that and God is telling you to do this. And I was like, okay, love and light, girl, but I don't think your content is for me anymore, and that's fine. Anyway, what was I talking? Ella Ringrose. I love her so much, and she is definitely one of those creators that I can just watch every single one of her videos, and even if the message does not resonate, or like, you know, I can tell it's not meant for me, whatever, I still watch it because her energy is just amazing. But anyway, I digress. I was listening to one of her recent videos, and she was talking about giving up control and releasing control and allowing God, or, you know, whatever you believe in, just into your life, and just allowing them all this energy to just, like, you know, help you and do it for you. And, you know, you don't have to control everything or anything. You just have to, you know, ask for help and believe and just sit back and receive. And I feel like a lot of the time when we do go through crappy situations or feel a bit shit in our lives, it can make us feel a bit anxious, and it can make us want to control everything. So we're like, oh, we have to get everything sorted because no one else is coming in for me and I'm getting no support, and, you know, I have to figure this out and I have to figure that out, and no one else is like going to do it for me. I just have to do it. And I think as well, that's another reason why we're not really in our bodies, is that a lot of us, Ella was talking about this as well, but like a lot of us, you know, are taught from like a young age that like we have to do everything and we have to fix everything and we have to do everything by ourselves. And so we get really, like, you know, uncomfortable and not fully present in our bodies. And it was just so strange how this message was kind of like lining up for what I wanted to speak about in this video. And it made me think, like, oh yeah, maybe I need to just stop being hard on myself, but also I do need to maybe try and release control a bit, and, you know, maybe do just like allow things to happen for me and, you know, give it a go. Ask for help one more time and give it a go, and really just give it up and release control and realize that, hey, you know, everything doesn't have to be on me. I'm allowed to receive good things, and I'm allowed to just have a good time and have fun. I feel like I've been learning how to rest this week and have fun this week as well, which again can get very lost if we're, you know, if things are feeling bad, we feel like we have to sort out everything. So, you know, we don't give ourselves that time to relax or have fun. But it's important to just find pockets of joy in whatever stage of life that we are in or find ourselves in. So yeah, these pockets of joy. I'm currently reading Shadow of Night. It's the second book in the A Discovery of Witches trilogy. I really love it. Matthew and Diana, my comfort couple, my comfort characters. I love them so much. Can't wait to read the last book in the series. I'm very close to finishing Shadow of Night. It's a happy sad because I'm reading these books and I'm like, these are amazing books. I love them so much. But then I'm also reading them and I'm like, I'm going to be so sad and not know what to do with myself when I finish them. But I have the TV show to watch. I'm really excited to watch the series after I finish the books. But also I've been told that there's also like a spin-off book series as well that I'm really excited to get my hands on. I also just finished another book called The Girl in the Tower, which is this beautiful like literary fairy tale vibey novel that I loved. And I'm currently have now just started The Wolves of Midwinter, which is a sequel to The Wolf Gift by Anne Rice. And I love werewolf books. I love werewolf media. Werewolves are amazing. I love them so much. These books are really helping me like getting to the autumn vibe because it's summer right now, and as much as I'm obviously trying to be present, I'm not a summer girly, I'm an autumn girly. I live and thrive and I'm joyful in the autumn. So these books are really helping me get into the vibe and remind me of autumn. I also, yes, I did read The Girl in the Tower and The Wolves of Midwinter because I was finishing Shadow of Night too quickly and I was like, I need this book series to last, so I started reading these books too. I've been writing practically every day. I'm working on my book, a novel that I'm really proud of. The idea and the characters I've had since I was 18. I'm now 23. Writing and working on this novel was just amazing and I love it so much. I'm so thankful for the idea and for the support from my fellow writers. I go to a writers group every month. We look at each other's work, give each other feedback, and it's a good time. I also handwrite. I don't know, typing I can't do, especially if I'm faced with like a blank Word document. My fight or flight kicks in, only I freeze. I'm the third one, I freeze in every situation. which I didn't know because everyone always says fight or flight. And then once, when I was talking to my therapist a few years ago, she was like, "Oh, so you freeze then?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess." Like, I always forget the third one, but yes, I do freeze, I guess, in situations that she picked up on. But yeah, I also freeze when I'm confronted with a blank Word document. I just can't do it. So I have to handwrite. There's something about physically having like the notepad in front of me and holding the pen. I know a laptop is also physical, but it's just, I don't know, it feels different. And like writing the words, it almost feels like I'm, in a non-creepy way, I'm like channeling, you know, the story in the book, and like it's just coming out of me freely. And just, yeah, I love handwriting. Everyone always looks at me like I'm mental when I say I handwrite. It's not like I go into complete detail and write the whole novel. It's not as bad as it sounds. I enjoy it, so it's fine. Also, just I love coffee. I say this in like every episode. Every episode? I guess these are little fun little episodes for you guys to listen to. I do number them as well. I just like to keep track on like what episode number we're on, I guess, and how many of these things I'm making. But yeah, I love coffee. Meditation. I've started listening to this really beautiful meditation that just helps me breathe and be present and receive things in the morning. And I'm planning on meditating more and just breathing with intention more. I am re-listening to the Magnus Archives as well. I haven't finished it yet. I've still got like a few episodes left, but as I said throughout this podcast, I have not been mentally and emotionally the best in the past few weeks, and I just needed some comfort. I needed some like autumn spooky vibes, and I feel like season 1 of Magnus Archives is like my comfort. So I really just wanted to listen to like the first season, the first few episodes again, and it really did make me so happy and joyful to just like be back in like, you know, the archive and stuff. If you haven't listened to the Magnus Archives, this makes no sense, but yeah. And just watching long form shows as well, I guess. I've been trying to watch, I haven't been watching many long form shows in a while. I feel like reading books and watching long form media really helps with my mental health, as opposed to like watching a bunch of YouTube or scrolling on TikTok. Don't get me wrong, I love YouTube and I love TikTok, but sometimes mentally it's not good for me. But I have started this show called Misfits. Such a good show. Oh my god, I'm attached to all of the main characters. I love them so much. Even if like a few of them really get on my nerves, I love them so much. They're little shits, but they're my little shits, okay? Especially Nathan. I really have a love-hate relationship with Nathan. Sometimes I just want to slap him and tell him to shut up, but if anyone else did that to him, I would like have beef with them for him. Because he's really annoying, but he's like my annoying little shit, okay? My favourite character is definitely Kelly. I feel like she's got a heart of an absolute angel, and she just makes everyone feel included, but also like stands on business and won't let anyone like, you know, hurt her, which is amazing. I also love Simon, even though he's a bit creepy at times, but I still love it. I feel like I'm on like nearly finished season 2 now, so I feel like he has got a really good character arc, and it's really nice seeing his character become more confident. I feel like, especially because I was like that teenager who like was kind of a bit awkward and struggled with anxiety, I always have a soft spot for characters who are a bit shy and a bit, you know, socially awkward, and seeing characters like that really grow into themselves and find their confidence just really make me very proud and warm inside. Even though they're fictional characters, I'm so proud of them, because I don't know, it reminds me of myself and how much I've grown and how much I've stepped into my confidence. And I'm just so happy for people when, you know, they discover their own power. And, you know, I'm just so proud of myself and others who just, yeah, find a bit of confidence. Like, I feel like I was just watching these scenes with Simon's character, and I was just like thinking to myself, like, oh, just like walk with like a little bit of pride, babe. Like, walk with your head up. Just, even if you don't believe it, just fake it till you make it. Walk into that room, like you are worthy and you believe that you are worthy, and, you know, have a bit of confidence. Even if you don't believe it, just fake it. Yeah, I feel like watching his character slowly develop the confidence and come into himself just, yeah, really makes me happy and proud to see. I liked Alicia from the start, but I'm now liking her even more. So yeah, my 3 favourite characters are probably Kelly, and then Simon and Alicia. But yeah, Misfits, if you haven't watched it, it's such a good show. It's basically about these young people, young adults who have to do community service, and they get stuck in like this storm, and after the storm they basically discover that the lightning gave them powers or something, and they all like find out their different powers and stuff, and it affects obviously the story of the show, I guess. I'm also really proud of myself because Nathan, they all basically discover their powers pretty early on, apart from Nathan. And throughout the whole first season, it's like one of these like big question, like, what is Nathan's power? Does Nathan have a power? Or maybe he doesn't. Like, what is his power? And I feel like I clocked it from like the second episode. I was like, I know this is his power. This is what it's going to be. I know what it is. Whatever. And I felt like that scene from BuzzFeed Unsolved when Shane's like, I've connected the dots, and Ryan's like, you haven't connected shit, because I was so adamant that I knew what Nathan's power was, and then something happened and I was like, oh, maybe he just doesn't have a power then, and then something else happened and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I knew it, and his power was revealed, and I was so proud of myself because I am one of those people who never gets plot twists. I'm always shocked by the surprise. I never pick up on the clues. Never do I solve the murder mystery. Never do I solve who did the crime. Like, I'm completely clueless with stuff like that. The fact that I managed to discover what Nathan's power was the second episode in, so proud of myself. So proud of myself. And finally, I just love making these videos as well. So yeah, those are my little pockets of joy that I'm trying to acknowledge and feel, while also feeling present and all the emotions that come with life. And I don't know, I feel like I have to warm up a bit with these videos, and I feel like this video has been a bit of a mess, and I don't really know what I was trying to say. Maybe I'm just trying to say, hey, it's okay to be present, even if it feels a bit shit right now. I'm proud of you, and I hope this video was helpful in some way, or at least I hope it was just background noise. Maybe I just kept you company. I would love that too. I've loved keeping you company, I guess. And I have nothing more to say right now, so I will let you go, and I will talk to you very soon, I hope.